was drunk, of course, and it was like a bachelor party, or I don't know what it was. It was a Las Vegas pool party. That's what it was. And this gay guy finds himself in the bathroom and with this heterosexual guy. And the heterosexual guy is on the toilet and passed out. And I guess he'd been really drunk or whatever, and his pants are down by his legs. And the gay guy walks in there, and he sees him and gets excited because he has a big dick. And begins to kneel down and suck him off while he's unconscious, essentially raping him, and then pulling him up while he's half awake. And the guy wakes up while the guy no. The guy, wakes up, and the guy is behind him, and he has his dick in his ass. He's raping him, and this other guy walks in to the bathroom and sees this happening, and you tell the other guy is passed out. I mean, this is just revolting. Now, the first thing I want to say about this is, and the first thought I had was, oh, great. Now, all the people who say gay people, gay men specifically, are sexual deviants or sexually, I don't know, just aggressive or whatever, and will rape you or try to convert you or whatever, are going to say, oh, see. Now, this is not something that happens every day, and it's a rare incident. I mean, we hardly ever hear of these kinds of things happening. But it does happen, just like it happens in the heterosexual community with heterosexual men and women. It happens a lot more with heterosexual men with heterosexual women than it does with gay men and gay and heterosexual men. So to act like it's a big deal, really, it really isn't. I mean, it is a big deal, but I'm saying it's not like. What I'm saying, it's not symptomatic of what it means to be a gay person, because this one guy is an asshole and an idiot and a revolting human being. But I mean, do you have to be that hard up that you can't just go find somebody? There are plenty of gay men out there that will have sex with you for free and freely do it of their own volition. I'm sure you can find somebody you're attracted to who has a big dick or whatever, if that's what was so attractive to you about this guy. And he said specifically, he became immediately turned on, began to masturbate while standing next to the sink. So he was so turned on sexually, he stepped towards the unconscious male, knelt down to him to perform oral sex for approximately 10 seconds. And then he would have sucked on the victim's penis more if he hadn't been interrupted by the security guard. And then he turned him around or something and began to have anal sex with him. Anyways, I mean, just ridiculous. So, there are, of course, gay deviants and people who are gay, who are evil and disgusting. I mean, look at Jeffrey Dahmer. He was one of the most famous serial killers, and he was gay. And he was a horrible human being for what he did. But I mean, my point is, all communities have their demons, and these are demons, in my opinion. So. Bates Motel. By the way, I don't know if any of you watched the show Bates Motel. It's really good. Of course, it's based on the movie Psycho, and about Norman Bates, but when he was a kid growing up, and his mother, Norma, raising him, and in the motel, and they ran the motel or whatever. And it's modern day, but it's based on the story of Psycho. And so, the guy who plays Norman is Freddie Highmore, and he's a really good actor. And I've watched it since the first season. Both of us have, me and my husband, and it's really good. This season's the best ever. This is a really good season because he's beginning to become really, truly psychotic. I mean, he's hearing voices. He's walking around thinking he is his mother and her clothes and her wig or a wig or whatever. Actually, he hasn't put a wig on yet, but he's put her clothes on, and I think he's his mother, and he's really fucking losing his mind, and he's killing people, of course, and stuff like that. So it's really good. So if you haven't seen Bates Motel, it is definitely worth the watch. It's on A&E, and if you don't have it or you want to catch up on it, you can watch it on iTunes or whatever. So it's really good. Check it out. Also, Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams, I want to talk about her for a minute because I used to watch her show every day, and because she's really good for gossip, right? And I could pass about 2 or 3 months ago, I just stopped watching her show. I just kind of got tired of her. And the main reason was because she is funny. She can be funny. And she seems like, she's down to earth, whatever, for the most part. But she can be so cutting. that, I mean, that's part of her shtick, though, is to be like, oh, tell it like it is, Wendy, right? Or whatever. And say it like you mean it, or whatever she says. And that's fine. I respect people who say it like they mean it. I feel like I'm the same way. But I don't do it at the expense of someone else's feelings if I, just to be mean or disrespectful, unless someone's been mean or disrespectful to me. She does it all the time to everybody, no matter, without any kind of consideration for whether they're her friend or not or whatever. But sometimes she just goes way too far. And last week she had said on her show that gay men, basically she said gay men, she said things about gay men before. She's very gay friendly, supposedly, or whatever, and has gay friends, and she has a lot of gay people on her staff and whatever. So I don't think she's homophobic, but she's ignorant, because she said something about the fact that gay men who are on Grindr are basically a bunch of sexual what she said, not pedophile, sexual deviants, or I can't remember the word she used, but it wasn't a good one, and saying that they're just disgusting whores or something like that. And, I find that to be so judgmental, but I've never been on Grindr because Grindr came out after I was married, so I've never had a reason to use it, but I've used apps like it before, I married my husband, and so I understand what it does and how it works. But it doesn't make you a slut or a whore to use Grindr to hook up with people. I mean, one of the things I think is interesting about gay men, or men in general, first of all, men in general are sexual human beings, but gay men, we don't have the restrictions placed upon us that women place upon heterosexual men, the limitations of sex and things like that. And so that's why most gay men are far more sexually free generally than heterosexual men, because they're able to be, because they don't have these restrictions placed upon them by their wives or girlfriends or whatever, because women are generally much more less sexual, not sexual, but less sexually promiscuous. And so it doesn't make you a whore to have a lot of sex any more than it makes you a doctor because you diagnose people. I don't know, whatever. But what I'm saying is, if you were saying this about women, she would be fucking pissed off and saying that someone's a whore, a woman's a whore because she has lots of sex, which is not true. I think sex is a healthy expression. It's a human thing. It's a natural thing, and it's important to your well-being, in my opinion. And to say that someone who has a lot of it is a whore is wrong. First of all, a whore gets paid, right? Isn't that the saying? So it's not like, these people are going out and getting paid for it. And even if they are, so what? I'm just a very non-judgmental person about things. I mean, I've talked about this before on my show, but I just don't look at people. I don't look at prostitutes like they're less than me. I don't look at people who have a lot of sex or with, indiscriminate sex as like they're less than me. I just consider these to be different choices people make, or things that they need in one way or another, psychologically, sexually, whatever, physically. And that's how they're fulfilling those needs, and there's nothing wrong with that. I guess I'm just an anomaly, and I don't look at people as being less than others just because they're different or because they make different choices. I think what makes you less than someone else is how you treat other people. That's really what I think is the true test of your character. And so that has nothing to do with it, and therefore I don't care. And I think that's how most people should be. I don't think that it really shouldn't fucking matter at all, because it's really not fucking anyone's business what you do with your body but your own. And that's why I'm pro-abortion. Well, not pro-abortion. I wouldn't say I'm pro-abortion. I'd say I'm pro-choice. I don't think abortion is a good thing to have unless you absolutely need it. But I think it's the woman's right, because, as I said, it's up to you what you do with your body. All right. And then there was a porn star. His name's Rylan Knox, who was recently found hanging in his bedroom, I think it was, by his roommate, and he's a very prolific online porn star, and he did some major movies like Falcon and whatever, I think, as well. But he, very good looking guy, killed himself, and apparently. And there's been a lot of this going on. I talked about this before as well. A lot of these porn stars killing themselves lately, and I don't understand why or what it's about. They haven't discovered what his reasoning was for it. But they also know that he was, they didn't actually, find a note or anything. So there's no reason for them to know why he did it. But, he could have been high or whatever. A lot of times porn stars do drugs and things like that, so you don't know. But he was on Falcon, gaycastings.com, nakedsword.com, Hot House, and other different gay porn studios. And he was young. He was like 20, I think 24 or something. They actually didn't release his age, his exact age. But he was around 20. He may have been younger than that, like 20 or 21. But anyway, he was a nice-looking guy. It's really sad. But I think it's an epidemic, though, in that community with gay porn, where these gay guys are just killing themselves for no reason. I also saw, over the weekend, I chatted with Andy Cohen from Bravo, who Andy Cohen is, I'm sure, on Periscope twice. And he, I don't know if you've used Periscope. It's actually free. When it first came out, it wasn't free, but now it is free. And it's just basically like a FaceTime thing, but for a public chat. So you FaceTime with the whole public instead of just one person, essentially. And the first time he was in a cab in New York City around 3:30 in the afternoon, and was going to get his tux tried on to meet for the Met Gala, which was on Sunday, for his date, Sarah Jessica Parker. And he was talking, whatever. And I asked him two questions that he answered. One was, does he still have beef with Wendy Williams, or does she still piss off at him? And he said, yes, I think she is. And he doesn't know why. And the other one was, I said, are you ever going to get married? He said, am I ever going to get married? He said, that's a good question. He said, I hope so. He said, if I ever find the right guy, he said, I have to fall in love first. So we'll see. He said, but I hope so. So that's one of the things about him. I think he's, I kind of seem to see him sort of a sad figure. And I don't know if I should, because he may be perfectly happy the way he is. He probably is. He gets lots of sex. He gets, he talks about that all the time, and he has sex with people all the time, and he's, all that, but he doesn't have one single person to be with. I think that's more important and, more long lasting, obviously. But I don't know if he's actually going to ever settle down or not, but he's maybe just be one of those consummate gay bachelors and never actually get married, which is perfectly fine. That's his choice. But it's kind of sad because he seems like a nice guy, or a guy who would have a lot to offer, obviously. And then Sunday, he was on his balcony in his New York City apartment, which is a fantastic view. And he showed Waka, his dog, and he was sitting there licking him in the face and kissing all over him, whatever. It was really cool. But anyway, he seems like a nice guy. Well, it's a cool app, though, Periscope. You can get it on on Apple Store, the App Store, and it's free. At least it was as of Friday. I don't know if it still is, but several celebrities use it apparently. And when they come online, it'll alert you on your phone so you can join in the chat. As long as the room's not too full. If it's too full, you can still view them, but you can't chat. But it's pretty cool. So check it out if you haven't checked it out already. Madonna, by the way, whom I love and adore. She was on something called Saturday Chat Live or something, and she answered like all these questions, like 38 questions or something. And she's sitting there in her bathroom, where she's drinking rosé, which fans of hers know she loves, which I'm not a big fan of because it's a little too dry for me. And she's drinking rosé, and she's eating pizza, and she's answering these questions. And in her bathroom is beautiful and enormous. It's like a gorgeous salon, essentially. It's not like just a bathroom. And she's sitting at a vanity or a desk or something, I don't know, in there. And she has a sofa in there, a fireplace with a top mantle and mirror and, a pedestal tub. And I mean, it's just a really gorgeous room. You can tell flowers in there, fresh flowers. Anyway, so behind her, while she is reading these questions, and as she's reading each question's on a piece of paper printed out. She's throwing it behind her. Like, she answers the question, she's like, psh, she throws it behind her, and it falls on the floor. Well, so there was, while she was doing this, at about the 9-minute mark, somewhere 9:54, something like that, behind her is, as I said, a mirror, and in the distance, and it looks exactly like a rat is running across the floor of her bathroom. And I mean, it looks really convincing. You'd think it's a rat. And I was like, oh my God. I said, Madonna has rats? I said, how can Madonna have rats? She's like fucking a billionaire almost. And she has rats? That doesn't make any fucking sense. And everybody's like, oh my God, Madonna has rats. Madonna has rats. Madonna has rats. And it turns out that it happened right after she threw a piece of paper on the floor. And the piece of paper had the front of it was dark gray, and in the distance, in the shadow, it looked like when it was falling on the floor, it was running across the room like it was a rat. Excuse me. Sorry, allergies. You'd have to hear me sneeze. So anyway, it was just really funny. People thought she had rats in her house because it's ridiculous. But speaking of Madonna and Gaga at the Met Ball, as I was mentioning earlier, were seen in photographs several times, all buddy-buddy, hugging and being, lovey-dovey at the Met Ball. And as you know,